Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've just come back from an incredible trip to one of the most beautiful places in the world, which is the Lake District National Park in the UK. And in this video I'd like to invite you to join me on this journey, so let's get right into it. So here we are in the wonderful Lake District. Wanted to get to our first location, which is the Duke of Portland Boathouse by sunrise, but there was no way to get here. The walk would be 2 hours on a dark road at night with no walk path. All the taxi services are closed and we don't have a car, so got here by 10 a.m. Conditions are absolutely stunning. You have moody cloud and mist in the background. I'm just hand holding right now and I'm going to check some compositions basically with the 17 to 28. You can see that the composition with the 17 mil is actually quite good. Let's see 28. 28 is a bit more focused on the house. Let me step to the left to see how I can get more mountains. There's actually some quite interesting mountains there in the background, which I think this is the better composition. Now the question is, do I go low with some of the stones in the foreground? So I only had 2 or 3 minutes to actually get a shot here, and I would have liked to take a bunch of different composition. One, with a 10-stop ND to make the water completely smooth, a wide shot, a narrow shot, a couple of different angles. But, we had a really tight schedule. We had to get to this bus. We took the first bus in the morning to get here, and we needed to take the next bus back. Otherwise, it would be too late for us to hike up a mountain. So it wasn't even a case of laziness or being late. I could only take this one composition here, and this is kind of a consolation shot, unfortunately. The conditions were still pretty good and it started drizzling at the point, so I thought, hey, instead of trying to pull out my 10-stop ND, take some long exposures, what I did was instead I just tried to capture the motion. This shot. Oh, well, that was a bit of a mad dash, and actually we're a little bit early because I got fooled by Google Maps again, where it tells you what time you need to leave, rather what time we need to be there. But yeah, it's good to be earlier, I guess. Didn't want to miss this bus because it comes once an hour. After that, we had very little wiggle room in terms of time, and it was a 3-bus journey to the start of our hike location. So our first bus took us back from the Duke of Portland Boathouse to Penrith, the town where we arrived, from where we had a few minutes to get on the coach to Keswick. And Keswick is kind of like the main hub of the Lake District in terms of towns. So as always, it was absolutely crammed with people, and I couldn't believe how many people were out there. Once we got to Keswick, we had about an hour until our next bus, so we decided to take a little break and also enjoy a warm meal before our long hike. And let me tell you, the bus routes in these mountainous regions are absolutely insane. I mean, the bus drivers are just rally drivers because, they have to be at the stops on time, and it's pretty long distances around the mountains and extremely curvy and hilly roads. Not to mention very narrow lanes and pretty much no space on the sides of the roads. But anyway, eventually we safely got to the start location of our hike, which is Honister. And the peak we'd be going up to is called Dale Head, which is a pretty simple hike in terms of safety, but there's quite a bit of elevation gain in the first 100 or 200 meters. Our plan was to hike up to the summit, Dale Head, and then actually come down the other side of the mountain to a very nice cozy little spot by a tarn called Dale Head Tarn, and camp there for the night. We also had a secret little hopeful plan to actually try to do a photo shoot in and around the tarn, and of course that would massively depend on the weather and the condition of the tarn and so many other things, so let's see if that's gonna happen. Alright, here we are finally on the ascent to Dale Head, and we're about a third of the way through now. Just having a bit of a breather. Let me just show you the view here. It's really gorgeous all around, about 180 degrees view. Bunch of sheep grazing all around us. Okay, that was a nice breather. Another 2/3 of the way to go, so I think we're gonna get up and get going now. Nut bars. Nut bars, man, they are the best things in the world, seriously, especially when they're, holy moly. I can't believe how good this nut bar is. Look at that view, Fleetwith Pike right there. What a bastard of a mountain. But yeah, hoping to that's what nut bars are not good for. Hoping to get some cool views. We still need 3:30 right now, so we have about 3.5 hours of sunlight. We really need to find a place to camp. Yes. On top of the world. Hello. Bye-bye, making the same joke again. 360-degree views. Oh, wow, this thing is tall, honestly. It's like taller than me. Holy moly, that's impressive, honestly. And look at that over there. Ooh. So I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this view in terms of photography. It looks incredible when you're here. It's absolutely breathtaking, honestly, when you get here. But in terms of photographing it, I just feel like there's too much going on. I'm gonna get it just to get it in the bag, and then I'm gonna go scout out another location real quick. So yeah, the issue with this image is that while it is an incredible vista, for an image there just isn't a focal point, and I think the solution to that would be to actually crop it, or well, I should have shot it differently really. I should have shot it, I think, in vertical orientation and just taken a photo of the valley here. I think it will work better as a 4:5 and have that river in the valley, you know, make it a bit more apparent in the photograph. So something like this would probably look a little bit more interesting. But yeah, for some reason this composition didn't really photographically excite me that much. And perhaps if I had this vertical composition in mind, and maybe if we also had some better light, you know, some colored light from sunset or sunrise, and or at least some more contrast, you know, in the scene, some break in the clouds or something like that, maybe I would have been a bit more excited. But the other reason that I kind of rushed this and didn't, you know, devote my time to it really was the fact that I had a cheeky little plan to try and hunt a different composition. Now, I didn't know if that composition existed. I just assumed that if I got to the edge of this mountain that we were on, where Dale Head Peak is, the edge that is facing Fleetwith Pike Mountain, that I could get maybe some foreground on the mountain that I was standing on, and a view of, you know, Fleetwith Pike and some of the other mountains in the distance like Haystacks, as well as Buttermere Lake. So leaving Vanda behind on the windy, chilly summit, I grabbed both my cameras and both my tripods and went scouting for the promise of this wonderful composition. Now here I made a real derp. I don't know if you can imagine my situation. You know, I gotta get a photo in a few minutes and also do the filming for it. And I was actually also in a really precarious spot. I wish I filmed it, but there was kind of a very steep hill and then about a 50-meter drop. If I lost my balance and slipped, I would just tumble down. Anything I dropped would similarly tumble down and be probably unrecoverable. Unfortunately, you know, I derped really hard. When I set up the camera to film, I misjudged this rock. I thought the rock on the edge of the frame was a different rock where I actually wanted to be. But anyway, here's the little spot that I found, and you can see me just out of frame on the right. And again, unfortunately, as always, I am very pressed for time here. I noticed this little bush of heather growing on and next to some really nice jagged rocks, and I thought, you know, I'd use that as my foreground. But anyway, here's that shot, and it's pretty much just another consolation image, mostly down to the fact that I am not good at using the wide-angle lens, and I've had very little practice in this kind of thing. And I'm really hoping to go out again soon and use that wide-angle lens more, get some practice in, get some nice shots with it. And hopefully next time I'll have more than 3 to 5 minutes to grab a shot. But anyway, time to make my way back to Vanda and find our campsite. It's raining pretty hard now, and this is a pretty steep descent. A little bit worrying, but still need to find a campsite. We need to get to this lake. I don't know if you can tell how soaked I am. But look at where we came from. Holy moly, it probably doesn't look like much on the screen here, but my goodness. I mean, look at these steps, and oh man, covered in fog now. Adventure. Can you see how freaking it's been soaked so many times over the last 2 or 3 hours, and yeah, it's still running. So if anyone has any doubts, it's pretty good. The lake is extremely dirty with the water. Obviously we have a filter, and I'm boiling the water here now, and yeah, I couldn't really film anything with the camera, and even with my phone. Like, this is just so hectic getting out. It's freezing. I mean, it's not freezing, it's just chilly, and obviously I'm fully wet, so it's extremely difficult to keep things in the tent dry as well. I was hoping to film these sequences, obviously, you know, boiling the water and stuff, getting food ready, all these cozy things that is like the culmination of every outdoor video. But not this time, I guess. It's just a little clip here. We're very short on drinking water, so I'll have to do this again later. Hopefully in a little while. There was this creature in that lake. It was like a water centipede. It looked so weird. It's like a half centipede, half shrimp. Like, its body is segmented like a centipede, but it's semi-curled like a shrimp, and it doesn't have feet on all of its segments. I've never seen anything like it, and it's pretty big. It was, no, I mean, it's not big, but it was like 3 inches maybe long. Okay, that's probably been boiling for a minute now, but I'll give it another 20-30 seconds maybe, and I'll just start filling up the food here. Oh yeah, don't forget to take these things out. The number of times I forgot. At that point, it was all we could do to muster our energy to set up our sleeping pads and our sleeping bags and get dressed for bed, and to eat that delicious warm food. Anyway, that's the end to the first part of our adventure. Don't forget to tune in to check out the second part. And for that, make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss it. Are we going to be able to do that wet photo shoot? Are we going to get down the mountain safely? Am I actually going to take any decent photographs? You won't want to miss it. Spoilers, kind of yes, yes, and yes. Like and subscribe.